It's so nice to see you again. How are you? Are you stressed out? Do you experience headaches, tension, fatigue, or sleep problems? Or do you suffer from aches and pains, dizziness, bowel problems, or anxiety? Do you over or undereat, have anger outbursts, sleep too much or too little, or have substance abuse issues? If this sounds familiar, ask yourself if you are trying to do any of the following. Manage someone else's responsibilities, try to be everyone's friend, try to take care of other people's feelings, try to solve other people's problems. Today's featured story is the backpack story. I will use make-up scenarios, not actual cases, to illustrate the meaning of the story.
Dr. Rita, can you tell us the backpack story?
Amanda loves backpack. Whenever she finds one, she cannot resist picking it up and wearing it. Sometimes she wears 5 or 6 at a time, even though everyone tells her it's odd. Sometimes her weight and bulk wear her out. They pull on her muscles, giving her tension headaches. Her feet hurt from extra weight. By the end of the day, she's exhausted, tense, and physically ill. Her family is fed up with the insanity of it all and can't understand why she continues the nonsense. Amanda carries other people's backpacks by treating their problem as if they are hers.
Why do people carry others' backpacks?
Some people who carry others' backpacks are people pleasers, or rescuers, or codependents. Are you any of this? We're going to take you to an imaginary trip around a neighborhood garage sale where we meet people and learn about backpack carrier everywhere.
Peter, a people pleaser backpack carrier.
At the Johnson's house, Bobby is in charge. She orders her husband and kids around and gets mad if they don't do exactly the way she wants. Her husband, Peter, submissively obeys because she can't stand seeing her get mad. Peter was brought up in a home where his parents were angry at each other all the time. As the oldest son, he did everything to please his parents. He thought if he obeyed and was a good kid, maybe they wouldn't fight as much. But no matter how hard he tried, nothing changed. He wondered if there was something wrong with him or if he was doing something wrong. He also tried to please his school teacher and forfeit his wants in order to win friends. By the time he was in high school, he had turned into a yes man. He let people boss him around because he had the false belief that it was his job to make everyone happy. And now as an adult, he's a people pleaser backpack carrier. When Peter and Bobby first met, he had just ended an abusive relationship and was hurting. Peter wanted to take care of her and she willingly let him. And they thought it was a perfect fit, so they decided to get married. However, Bobby was an angry person and used her anger to control him and get her own way. Eventually, Peter could no longer please her and retreated into himself and became angry and depressed. Bobby was like a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much Peter gave, she was never filled up, never happy, and always fault finding. Peter prepared for the garage sale by pricing the items, arranging the tables, and getting the money ready. When Bobby saw what he had done, her anger escalated. She removed the sticker prices and repriced everything. She rearranged the tables and criticized him for the way he handled the money, and she belittled him in front of customers. After the sale, Bobby was too tired to decide where she wanted to have dinner. So Peter chose the buffet restaurant across town because they offered Bobby's favorite, roast beef. Unfortunately, roast beef was not served that particular night, and as usual, she blamed Peter and stayed mad at him all night. Peter also plays people pleaser to his kids by failing to set proper boundaries with them. Lately, has been having lots of aches and pains, depression, and weight gain. Has also been drinking alcohol to keep him fall asleep and wants to be left alone because people stress him out. Peter has no idea has been carrying his and his family's backpacks, has taken their problems and had made them his own. He neglected to take care of himself. He's physically and emotionally burned out. I left the Johnson's garage sale and headed to the tailor's, where Melanie is sitting by herself. She invited me to sit down.
Melanie, another people-pleaser backpack carrier.
Melanie is a nice lady who will help anyone. Lately, she has not been feeling well and has been experiencing a deep sense of anger that she cannot explain. Her physician said that is probably due to stress. Melanie lets people take advantage of her. She tries to please them, but she cannot. For instance, when her husband decides at the last minute to invite people over after work, he does not care if she's ready to entertain, and he expects her to drop whatever she's doing and prepare a wonderful meal. This causes a deep sense of panic to well up inside her. Even her teenage children do not take her seriously. They're quite disrespectful, expect her to bow to their needs and wants no matter what. They assume she will help them with homework every night, and that she will bring forgotten books and lunches to school as soon as they call. Her friend also asks her for help all the time. Since she spends so much time helping others, she doesn't have enough time to do the things she wants to do. She's tired, exhausted, and feeling used. Melanie has no idea that she's a people-pleaser backpack carrier. By carrying everyone's backpack, she denies them the opportunity to be responsible for themselves. She thinks she's helping them, but really, she's destroying them and herself. No one can carry that many backpacks. I suggest that she assert herself and tell them no. After a few more words of encouragement, I say goodbye to her. A few days later, she called me on the phone.
Guess what? You are right. When I began saying no and explaining how I feel and what I want, they began to respect me. I thought they might abandon me once I stopped carrying their backpacks, but to my surprise, they began trying to figure out how to solve their problems.
With Melanie carried their backpacks, they became disabled because they did not deal with their own problems. I'm glad for Melanie's breakthrough.
Eddie, a rescuer backpack carrier.
I see Eddie walking down the street. Hi, Eddie. How are you doing lately? Eddie replies that he's not doing well because once again he has a breakup with a girlfriend. I don't know why girls always break up with me, he said. This is the third time and I'm beginning to think I'm the one with the problem. We sat down on the bench and talked. He tells me that he tried to help his first girlfriend, Tanya, after she got out of an abusive relationship. At first, she was attached to him like glue, and when she responded positively to his loving care, he fell in love with her. But after dating for a while, she began pulling away and finally told him she did not want to see him anymore. He had tried everything to help her, to make her happy, but she still wanted to leave. A few years later, he met Lori, who was recently divorced. Eddie listened intently as she cried and told her tales of woe. Soon they became very close and talked on the phone every day. Eddie fell in love with Lori because she was hurting and it felt wonderful to be needed. And Lori felt safe and secure with Eddie, who took such a good care of her. They dated for 3 years, but then she began to pull away from him. She stopped answering his call. One day he went to her house and found another man there. Eddie was very angry and hurt, and this relationship was terminated also. 2 years later, he met Denise, a divorced woman with small children. At first, he helped fix things around her house, and then she began to call with all sorts of requests. It felt great to be helping someone again. Pretty soon, he began having strong feeling towards her, and they started to see each other daily. Eddie did many things to make her happy, but nothing seemed to help. A few months ago, she terminated the relationship. Again, as before, he had no idea he was dumped. He was so good to Tanya, Lori, and Denise, but they all decided not to have anything to do with him. He felt angry, hurt, and rejected. He was beginning to think that there must be something wrong with him. I asked Eddie if he could see any pattern in these relationships. He said all 3 women were hurting when he met them. He was there to help them, but they didn't want him after all. So you were the rescuer to them, I asked. I suppose so. I'm so used to taking care of people, so it's natural for me. Eddie explained that when he was 6 years old, when his dad left, and after that his mom cried all the time. He felt he should take the responsibilities of his dad and support his mom. Otherwise, he would lose her also. He was an only child, and his mom told him that he was all she had to live for. So he became her comforter, her helper to keep her alive. Since Eddie had become his mother's rescuer, he felt comfortable in that role with other relationships. Each woman he fell in love with was experiencing emotional turmoil when they met. Tonya had just come out from an abusive relationship and was in pain. Lori had just come out from a brutal divorce and needed emotional support, and Denise was also divorced with 2 young children. Eddie was there to carry their backpacks to the extent of giving up his own needs. He canceled activities, neglected his own chores at home. Sometimes he listened to them so late into the night that he did not get enough sleep and began having headaches, stomach issues, and anxiety. When these women were in pain, they grabbed onto him for support, like someone needing a crutch in order to walk. But once they healed from their trauma, they no longer needed him. If you look at all 3 women, he would see that none of them truly cared for him. They just used him to heal the emotional pain. His relationship with them was not give and take. He was just there carrying their bags. Once they were able to carry their own, they did not need him anymore. Eddie needed and wanted a woman to love and cherish him as much as he loved her. He said, "Now I get it. I need to find someone who can carry my backpack also. I should not be the only one who carries her backpack." I replied, "I'm sure you will find someone like that. When you feel like you're carrying the woman's backpack without taking care of yourself, you know you are a rescuer backpack carrier. A healthy relationship has to be give and take. A taker who never gives anything in return will stress you out." "You're right," he said. "It's not worth it to be the only backpack carrier. When my shoulder gets tired, I need someone to help me to carry my bag also." It was getting late, so we said goodbye to each other.
Molly, another rescuer backpack carrier.
The next day, I walked around the neighborhood again. I saw my friend Molly. She says she had been under so much stress that she had trouble going to sleep. She's lost motivation, cries for no reason, and is angry at everything and everyone. She has headaches, painful tense muscle pain, and unbearable fatigue. "Tell me about your stress," I say. Molly explained that she thinks she's burned out. She befriends someone going through a painful divorce, and before she knew it, they were talking on the phone 24/7, and she was emotionally drained. "I'm like a garbage can for her to dump her trash in, and now the garbage can is overloaded," she said. She told about preparing meals for a sick neighbor and volunteering for many and various church functions. "If I didn't volunteer, the ministry would collapse," she said. "Because of that, I'm in charge of many ministries. Lately, I don't feel like doing any of them." She volunteers at her children's school, helps with the books at her husband's business, and is getting overwhelmed with all the preparation for her daughter's upcoming wedding. Her daughter wants her help, but gets ornery when Molly makes suggestions. She begins to sob, and I hand her some tissue to wipe her tears. When she's calm, I tell her the backpack story, and her eyes light up as she listens. She bursts into laughter and exclaims, "That's me! I'm Amanda! I like to carry people's backpack. I'm rescuer. That's why I'm burned out." "That's right," I reply. "Is there any backpack you can get rid of?" Molly responds that she no longer wants to carry anyone's backpack. She can refer her friend to a therapist, decide whether or not to answer the phone and how long to talk, determine when to help her husband, and maybe even suggest him hire someone to do the job. As for her daughter's wedding, Molly will talk to her about acting more respectfully towards her and find out if she really wants her help with the wedding. Molly has decided she will stop carrying other people's backpacks. It's late now, and we decide to go separate ways and that we will talk again later. So far, we've seen a few examples of people pleaser and rescue backpack carriers. Are you one of them? Perhaps you're a codependent backpack carrier.
Dr. Rita, what is a codependent backpack carrier?
Codependent backpack carriers place other people's needs and desires above their own. They put the thoughts, feelings, and needs of other people first. They give and then feel resentful for doing so. They often feel rejected and insecure unless they are with their friends. Some were abused as children, so they may view abuse as normal and the best that can be expected. Now that we know what codependent backpack carrier is, let's continue walking through the neighborhood garage sale. I see my friend Maria Brown cleaning up from her sale.
Maria, a codependent backpack carrier.
Hi Maria, how are you doing today? Do you need some help? I asked. I'm glad you're here. I do need some help, she says. As we put things into boxes, Maria complained about how her husband expects her to do everything. She's stressed out without any help from him. As I get closer to her, I notice that she has bruises on her arm and her neck. Maria, let me see your neck. There's a bruise on it. How did you hurt yourself? I asked. Well, I just bumped into something, she replied. How do you bump your neck into something? I just don't understand, I asked. There's a long pause before she responds. I can see that her tears are running down her cheek. What's wrong, Maria? Who hurt you? Is that your husband? I asked. Maria nodded her head. Yes, it happens all the time when he's angry. Then the next day, he will apologize to me for his violent behavior. I thought about leaving, but I don't think I can survive without him. He has a lot of needs. I have to take care of him. Loving someone does not mean you have to be his doormat and let him step on you, I say. I'm worried about your safety. You need to get some help. I can find you a therapist, I insist. Maria says, it's okay. He's controlling, but he often feels remorseful about his behavior. It gives me hope every time he apologizes again. I ask, but did he do it again? It has been 15 years. He's still controlling and abusive. I worry about the kids who are witnessing the abuse. That's right. You need to get help so your kids won't be affected by his abuse. You see, you're a codependent backpack carrier. I begin to tell her the story about the backpack, explain to her what a codependent backpack carrier is. Maria exclaimed, yes, I'm a codependent backpack carrier. No wonder I'm always so stressed out. Carrying my own backpack is bad enough. It's hard to carry others' backpack. All this year, I've been focusing on meeting my husband's needs. I forgot that I have my own needs. It seems that I no longer know how I feel and what I want anymore. It does not matter how I feel and what I want anyway. He always wants his way. In order to keep the peace, I just let him have his way. But I'm very angry inside for not getting what I want. I then respond, you don't deserve to be treated that way. You are a valuable person like everybody else. Maria was sobbing at this time. She tells me she feels trashy, dirty, and unlovable. She has to stay with her husband or she will have no one in this world. I come to find out that Maria was verbally, physically, and sexually abused by her father when she was a child. In her mind, being abused by her husband is normal. She has a hard time believing that she's lovable. I begin to tell her about God who loves her no matter what. She's in tears and pray with me to ask God to come into her heart and take control of her life. Her face shines like an angel after we pray. Maria promised me that she would get some help because she's tired of being a backpack carrier. I give her a hug and say goodbye to her. As I turn the corner, passing by the park in the subdivision, I see a teenager who's sitting on the swing crying. I sit on the swing next to her, ask her why she's crying. She tells me that she had to leave her house and come here to take a break from her mom. Her name is Amy. I asked Mamie, what's wrong with her mom? She tells me that her mom always has to have her way. If she does not get her way, she will be mad, Amy says. She began to share her frustration. The other day, I left a few crumbs on the kitchen counter. I tried to clean it up. My mom got so upset that I was not cleaning it well enough. She had to stand next to me and coach me how to clean it. I'm 18 years old. I know how to clean the kitchen counter. My mom is so OCD and she's obsessive about cleaning. No matter how well I clean, it's not good enough for her. If she does not get her way, she'll cry and make me feel guilty. In order to manage her anger, I usually just do everything her way, but then I get very angry afterwards. Even worse, she will not agree with any decision I make. Sometimes she has to let me make some mistakes. None of my friends are good enough for her. She criticizes them constantly. They're pretty good kids, She stressed me out. She did not do well in school herself, but she's forcing me to get all A's for her. If I get a bad grade, she'll cry. She'll have to keep getting good grades to make her happy. But no matter how hard I try to make her happy, she's still unhappy. I'm the one who's going to school. I should be the one who decides what grades I want to get. She makes me study so much that I cannot hang out with my girlfriends or my boyfriends very much at all. Amy went on and on complaining about her mother. Can you tell her how you feel and what you want? I asked. No way, she responded. She never listened to me. Talking to her is like talking to a brick wall. I cannot get through to her because she believes her way is the only way. When I tell her that I'm hurting, she does not seem to care. She turns things around and thinks that I'm hurting her. It's best just not to talk to her. I respond, you must be very frustrated that she does not care about you. Immediately, Amy replied, yes, it's terrible. Worst of all, she wants to decide where I should go to college. I want to go to the college where my boyfriend's going. She thinks I need to go to the college in town. Maybe she's not ready for me to leave her, but I can't wait to leave her. I'm the one that's going to college. Why can't she just let me decide where I want to go? How stupid that is. I cannot even apply for the college I want to go to. The thought of not being with my boyfriend makes me so sad. Tears start falling down her face. I try to emphasize with her to make her feel like her feelings are being understood. Then I tell her the backpack story, explain to her what a codependent parent is like.
Amy's mother, a codependent parent.
Codependent parents play a victim role. They put guilt trip on the kids, are overly emotional, controlling, and never listen. Amy responds, yes, my mom is a codependent parent that makes me feel like I needed to be responsible for her feelings and her wants. I need to deny myself to make her happy.
Amy, a codependent backpack carrier.
I tell her the backpack story, explain to her that she's a codependent backpack carrier. It is stressful enough to carry your own backpack with stresses from school, relationships, responsibilities, and your future. You should not be carrying anyone's backpack to manage others' emotions. No one can manage another person's emotion, Carrying others' backpack drags you down. Maybe it's good for you to see a therapist to help you learn to unload others' backpack by setting boundaries with them. Going to a family therapist with your mom will be a good idea after you learn not to be a backpack carrier. She agrees. We say goodbye to each other. I don't feel like going to the garage sale, so I walk home. I hope you enjoy our trip together, meeting backpack carriers along the way. Some of them are people-pleaser backpack carriers, others are rescuer backpack carriers, and some are codependent backpack carriers. Are you one of them? Do you feel stressed out carrying other people's backpack to the extent of not taking care of your needs and your wants? It may even affect your physical and emotional health because you're so burned out from carrying others' backpacks. Is it worthwhile to be so stressed out by them? Your own backpack is heavy enough. You do not need to carry others' backpack. Does it mean that you just don't care for others by not carrying their burden? No, not really. It's important to care for others. You have so much joy giving to other people. However, if you give in to the extent of hurting yourself physically, behaviorally, or emotionally, that you have lost yourself. Eventually, you don't even know you have needs and wants. You feel like no one cares about you because you're the only one who gives. This unhealthy compassion becomes a backpack.
How do you prevent yourself from carrying others' backpack?
First, ask yourself this question. Is this my backpack? If it's not yours, don't carry it. You can still be there to assist the person sometimes, but it's not your responsibility to carry that person's backpack entirely. Secondly, refer the person to an expert to get help, to someone who's trained in that area. You can always be there to support him or her from time to time, if and when you choose to do so. Third, you can round up a team of people to help empower this person to carry his or her own backpack. It's good for the person to receive love from more people. The backpack will not be as heavy as we are all carrying it together. Fourthly, set boundaries for yourself. When you're able to say no and tell others how you feel and what you want, you feel powerful inside. People will learn to respect you. Lastly, you will truly help others when you stop carrying their bags, make them be responsible for their own lives. Carry their bags cause them to rely on you and become helpless. One thing backpack carriers have in common is that they are insecure. You do not need to carry anyone's backpack anymore. When you ask God to come to your heart and take control of your life, you become His child. That means you are prince or princess in the kingdom of God. When you find your security in Him, you will not be so anxious to seek the approval of others because you will understand His never-ending love for you. You're precious in His sight and you deserve to be treated with respect. You do not need to feel guilty to say no to others. Even Jesus said no to the crowd when He needed to take a break. Do not believe what the negative voices inside you or others' opinion to define who you are. You're deeply loved and honored by God. This is the truth. I would like to hear from you, pray for you, and answer your questions in my future shows. My email address is care@dr-rita.com. You can also call me at 517-332-6300. I love to hear from you. I hope today's show helped you find your source of stress in your life and you're making some changes so you will not be so stressed out. Take good care of yourself. God loves you no matter what. See you again soon.